Jonathan Bass, CEO of Argent LNG. Thanks for joining me on American Dialogues.
Thanks for having me.
You met the Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara twice in Damascus. Can you walk us through the nature of those meetings? What was he seeking from you, and what were you seeking from him?
Honestly, I wasn't seeking anything from him because I had no clue I would be there. I mean, it was completely random that I ended up in Syria, and it was completely in God's will that I would have ended up in front of him in the palace. In fact, I said to him, Mr. President, I can't believe I'm sitting here in front of you in Assad's palace with you. He said, honestly, nor could I. So we didn't expect one or the other to be actually in front of each other. It really was, I believe, in God's will that we were put in front of each other. I wasn't seeking anything from him. Quite honestly, I was invited to go represent a humanitarian group with an American group, and I expected absolutely nothing. I had no clue what I was going, and quite honestly, I was afraid, and I tried to get invited out of it completely. I didn't want to go, and nobody got me a way out of it, and I ended up going.
What kind of impression did the president of Syria leave on you, and what did you sense about his priorities?
I've met many people in my life, and I would tell you that the president of Syria is quite an incredible man. I hope he has the strength to continue his mission as a Jew. I think we're the most unlikely two people to be together. No one would ever assume that the both of us would be sitting in a room. And I honestly feel it was God's mission to put us together. And what we did was we brought the Syrian people out of darkness. But I'll tell you what I felt in al-Shara's heart, what I saw in his eyes, and I felt in his touch, was that this was a man that believed he was there for the same reason, to lift a greater responsibility, to fight for a mission for his people, and not just one group of people from Syria, all Syrian people, Jews, Christians, Druze, Sunni, Shia, Alawite. He was a man that represented everybody. It was everybody at the table, not one. He wasn't a guy where a picture, when I toured Syria, when I went around Damascus, and I went into the stores with Jews wearing yarmulkes, I didn't see one picture of al-Shara in a store. And I said to him, sir, there's not a picture of you in a hotel. I didn't even know what you look like. There's not a picture of you in a store. He said, we didn't trade one dictator for another one. The French traded a king and a queen for Napoleon. Napoleon led a revolution only to be the emperor of France. He's not looking to be the emperor of Syria. He's looking to be a transition to a free Syria, to a Syria of the people, to a Syria for the people. So I was very impressed with the man I met and the man in which I saw truly was incredible.
What did he tell you about the cooperation with the administration of President Trump?
Well, at that time, he had no cooperation with President Trump. At the time I met him, there were people who came from the State Department with a list of 8 items. There was no cooperation with Trump. In fact, he asked me what I wanted. And I said to him, sir, the only thing I ask you is when I'm dead and when I'm gone, I'd ask you to come and speak to the people at my funeral and tell them what we did in this room and what the future results were. If I'm successful in freeing 29 million people from this darkness, just come when I'm dead and I'm gone and tell people in the room. Little did I know that he was going to post something within 24 hours. And the world was going to know that I was in a meeting with him.
So you were the first to reveal a Shara ambition to have a Trump Tower in Syria. Would that actually happen?
The message of the Trump Tower was not about a building with Trump's name on it. It was that there was a lack of a statue. Trump did not, al-Shara did not believe that the future of the country depended on one person. A Trump Tower provided housing, provided businesses, provided offices. It's not that the Trump Tower was a tower of residences of rich people. It was the community that it represented. And it was the fact that it wasn't a statue, which was important to al-Shara, that it was an image of the future of Syria. It was an image of progress. It was an image of the future.
Let's go to May 14th. President Trump was visiting Riyadh. All of a sudden, the president meets with al-Shara in presence of the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. What happened behind the scenes to shift the US foreign policy so dramatically and so quickly?
Al-Shara gave me a list of 10 items. He asked me to communicate those 10 items to the Israelis. Those 10 items, when I got out of the palace, and then I went to meet with the Druze negotiators to understand what was going on in the Druze community. From there, I got on a plane to Istanbul, and he sat me next to the Minister of Energy so that I could understand the situation of what it was. When I arrived in Istanbul, I called the Israelis, and the Israelis felt that this line of communication was not one they wanted to listen to.
They weren't happy with you, right?
Not at all. But Shara went to Paris and met with Macron. And Macron wanted it all. Macron wanted energy. He wanted everything. He wanted to be the next IRGC, Russia and China into Syria. And he said, I opened an indirect line of communication with the Israelis. Dog whistling to the Israelis that the messaging that I was providing to them was a direct line from him. I told them, if you don't want to listen, I'm going to go to the press. And that's what I did is I went to you guys. I went to the voice of the world to project his message. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Some people were not happy with the fact that I did that. The Israelis included. There was a group of Americans that were not happy about it. But I knew that President Trump, my President Trump, would read what was in the press. And I had to accomplish two things. What I will tell you is that there were two people integral in having this done. Princess Rima and Tom Barak. I called Tom Barak the potter. He's a guy who took a slab of clay and made it into the most beautiful vase. He's on the path of creating a new Middle East. He's not interested in anything but legacy. He's 78 years old. He wants to accomplish something that's legacy. Princess Rima took the message. I think I talked to her May 2nd or May 3rd. And I told her what I saw, and I said, I need your help. We need to help these people. We need to free these people from darkness. It's not fair that they're sanctioned, that they're under this burden that's crushing them on the street, that people are afraid to look you in the eye. We need to free these people. They're great people. Syrian people are smart, intelligent, educated, hardworking. They're nationalistic. They want to make a difference. They don't want to fight. They don't want to go kill each other. They don't want their kids in a body bag. They've suffered 40 years of body bags. They've suffered 40 years of not being able to talk to their neighbor, their brother, their sister, their mother, their father. They don't want that for their future. What they want is freedom. They want opportunity. And with opportunity comes this cutting the shackles that Assad put. So what I will say is that this would not have happened without Princess Rima and Tom Barak.
So you just said that President al-Shara gave you 10 items that he wanted it delivered to the Israelis. Like, what are the major ones?
I mean, the major one is a return to Doha, 1974, I believe it is, okay? He wanted a cessation of bombing. He wanted a peaceful zone within the Gaza Strip, a non-militarized zone. Look, we need peace in the Middle East. We all have children, and some of us have grandchildren. And what we want is opportunity for our families, our cousins, our friends, our neighbors. And without peace, we can't have opportunity. But some people in the region find opportunity in chaos, opportunity in creating dissension, opportunity in creating hate. And we need more people to stand up. And al-Shara is the perfect man, because al-Shara has a past that he's lived, a path traveled, a path walked, that showed what he experienced hate. He was at the other side of a gun, and he was at the other side of the gun. He was at both sides. And I believe in his heart, he saw that the gun is like a fighter. A fighter in a ring goes 12 rounds. A negotiator lives to see the next day, past 12 rounds. And he realized, and I believe in his heart, that the future for his people, and God's put him in that position as the leader. The future for his people will come through negotiation, not fighting.
You remember in May when Israel struck near the presidential palace in Damascus. Some people thought that this is, a signal that we could take you down. What do
Yes. Yes. So the message was that was the next day. And if you go back to May 2nd, it wasn't only that, it was skirmishing between the Turks and the Israelis. Things were leading, as Marco Rubio said in a Senate hearing, things were leading to a civil war. What I saw on the street was we were 2 to 4 weeks away from total bloodbath. And the Americans and the West would be driven into a war, and we would have lost thousands of lives. Whether those souls were Israelis, Americans, Syrians, Iraqis, Turkish, it didn't matter. They were souls. They're people. They're people with families, children, mothers, fathers. And we need to stop the killing. We need to stop the hate.
Okay.
And so I stood up. And when I was in the negotiation and talking to the Israelis, they did say, hey, I said, what the hell did you do? He gave you a list of 10 items. Why would you do this? And they laughed. And they said, let him know we can get him wherever he is. And I was like, that's not a way in which we're starting a negotiation. We can get anyone anywhere, I mean, look at the 25 Christians that a guy strapped with a bomb in his vest wanted to disrupt the forward progress of Syria. Anybody can get anybody, but that's not the proof to victory for the people. George Washington fought a civil war as a rebel and turned America into a land of God, a land where all people are free, where all religions can practice, where all people of color are accepted. Al-Shara will lead Syria like George Washington led America, like other leaders have led from conflict to freedom. I don't believe Al-Shara is the next Napoleon. So the French don't have the cred to tell Al-Shara what to do. The proof is in the pudding.
Are the Israelis still working to assassinate him?
No, I believe that the Israelis realized that he has the support of President Trump. He has the support of the West. And he has the support to move forward his country. And I believe in my heart that Tom Barak, leading the region, coupled with great strong partners within the region, have a choice. You know, leaders have to make a choice. I say sitting on a fence only gives you a sore ass. That's the only thing it leads you to have. You can't sit on the fence. You have to choose a side in life. You have to choose Iran, China, Russia, America, the West. You have to choose a side. And I believe that al-Shara is smart enough to have chosen Trump, MBS, Erdogan, and the West. And we will get to a peaceful solution with the Israelis in a negotiated way. Look, al-Shara made a very big move this week by offering Palestinians citizenship, not refugee status, but actual citizenship. Checkmated the PLA. It was a very big move. Trump was shot twice, or once shot at, once almost shot. When we talked, he said, Trump and I have one thing in common. We know what it's like to be shot at. We can understand what we're dealing with for our people.
There was a reported meeting in Baku between Syrian and Israeli officials this week. Do you think normalization or a security agreement is within the reach?
I hope, and knowing al-Shara, he is given an olive branch. He gave the olive branch with me to them. We hope that Netanyahu takes this very seriously.
Yeah.
This is not a political win for the Druze loyalty to the Israelis. This is a political win for the region, for stability, peace, and the ripple effect that is felt all over the region.
Yeah.
You need to start. You can only make an omelet with breaking an egg, but you can never put a crystal bowl back together. And here, what we need to do is break an egg and not try to put it back together. So we have to do it right. So I believe that al-Shara's intent is to do it right. Now, I hope that the Israelis go into these meetings with the same intent. I know that the Americans are leaned in to make this situation right, to stop the killing in the Middle East, to stop the bloodshed.
So given your role in Syria, have you ever faced any pushback from the State Department or from the White House saying, oh, we're not happy with your rule, what are you doing in Syria, what are you doing in Turkey?
I'm an American. And as an American, I have a freedom of speech. And we have a freedom of idea. What makes us unique is that our forefathers brought us a country of not one rule. We don't have an elected kingdom. Whether it's an elected kingdom for 4 years, 8 years, 6 years, 2 years, whether it's Congress, Senate, the forefathers didn't bring us elected monarchs. The forefathers were we, the people. And we, the people, all have an obligation to have a voice, whether we like to hear it or not. So I will tell you that, yes, you know the answer to that. I was threatened quite a lot by people, but those people right now are sitting at the UN.
The administration?
Well, they will now move to the UN.
Only one or more than one?
But more than one were moved to the UN. And look, I think it's a shame.
Can you name them?
No, I can't name them.
Why?
Because you know why I can't name them. But it was very disappointing to see friendly fire. Because at the end of the day, my intent was from a good heart. My intent was to help move the region to the right place. I'm not a political. I have no financial gain. I have no career to be had. I have no lobbyist job waiting for me. I have no ambition to go into the administration. I have none. What I have the ambition, just like Tom Barat, is to leave a legacy of a better place. It's up to all of us now to move forward. We have to stop saying, what will Syria give us? I've spoken to, I would say in the last week, over 130 American companies. And those American companies ask me, who's going to pay? I'm like, who's going to invest? It's not about paying. It's about investing in the future of Syria. We need to do what the leaders have said. We need to come forward. We need to invest behind the man. We need to know that the future of this region lies in the future of the people in the region. And the only way that's going to change is with investment in jobs and opportunity. So we have to not look as Western companies saying, who's going to pay? Is it Saudi? Is it Abu Dhabi? Is it Qatar? Is it Turkey? Is it America? No. We have to invest behind the Syrian people.
Jonathan Bass, CEO of Argent LNG. It's always my pleasure to speak with you, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. And thank you for all you're doing.